Hey everyone, it's Suzi here, and today we're playing a Watcher of Realms. For today's video, we have to talk about summoning. When should you summon? Uh, Wait till Friday for a lot of people, but who should you summon for with the exclusive lucky pick? Alright, yeah, the pick your own exclusive is here. It's tomorrow. I was actually about to make a really long Dev Insights video because I have 2 weeks of Dev Insights to cover, but that's gonna have to wait. That might be tomorrow's video when I'm not summoning because I'm gonna wait till Friday to pity swap. Speaking of which, we will do a summoning party as well. I can't forget that. So if you guys want to be added, you can let me know in the Discord. I will post for that too. And I will be live, of course, doing the summoning party, which again, we will do pity swaps, where you pull on this banner, stop it before you hit a guaranteed pull, and then switch to this banner. Hopefully you maybe get shiny, cute new hero, Draylin, or adorable Talon. Yeah. That have their names in Phelan. Why are all the Alins on the same banner? They're just being silly now. Oh, I see you. Anyway, and then yeah, that's a whole conversation, of course, with pity swapping, which we will try to showcase well in videos on Friday and during the live streams too. But some people will just pull on Thursday because you're excited, so I wanted to get this video out now about summoning. So keep in mind, if you pull the hero that you pick early, the event is over and you can't get a guaranteed extra copy at 200. You only get one hit on the banner. That's a guarantee. Then after that, it's just up to chances with the 20 times boost drop rate. And the 20 times boost drop rate on this exclusive banner that's a limited guarantee, that does not have the new pity rules. The new rate up failing to hit a pity on a banner hero rules that does not apply for these. Okay, so there's a lot of things to consider here. We also have to mention that this banner is coming. Libu is amazing, absolutely fun pull if you don't have a Cyrus or a Libu, especially if you care about Guild Wars and later endgame content. This is a great couple characters to try to get for your account, or just Arena in general. I'm sure they can, I don't have him, but I'm sure he would be a lot of fun, and I've definitely seen him used in a lot of Chaotic and Northerner teams in a ton of content, and not even just like PvP, like quirky boss event content. I've seen him used pretty well too with some Northerner teams in the past, but recently. Okay, so should you summon for this? Let's just start there. If you don't have those characters and you want to pull for them, pull for them. I think it's more, this one is not like a must pull, especially if you don't have Praetus, Ingrid, Nastia. I know even Areka is pretty good now, but you're not going to wait on an ancient for her now. I don't think. There's definitely some more powerful heroes, like Valderon even, but if you are someone who cares about Guild War and you don't have a Cyrus, he's definitely on your most wanted list. So certainly want to keep in mind if you're missing him and you already have your stuff set for at least an A3 Ingrid and Praetus and all the fun stuff. Although Praetus is falling off a lot of the meta teams lately, which is crazy to say, although I still use him everywhere because I'm a slacker and I'm very behind the times. But I know what's happening, I can see it, and yeah, it's a very good banner. Very good damage dealer, is really interesting lord, amazing faction with Esotericist, and then he has such a quirky, cool defender as well. So if you don't have him and you have the main core most wanted lords, he's probably, I mean, he's up there on the list if you care about certain content like Guild War. All right. Now, let's say you're pulling on this banner and you get a limited hero early and your event is over. Should you then go pull for Draylin or Talon? I don't think so. I think you focus the special event that's happening now where you get to choose who you're trying to pull for. You get to try to get multiple copies of them while you have the chance. Don't worry about this. They will be there. So now, Again, you should wait until Friday, not pulling till Thursday, if you can do a pity swap, which means you get close to your pity, like you pull 171 or 180, depending on when your last legendary happened. If it was at 0, you pull till 180, you stop. You pull here, pull a 10 pull, you don't get it, pull some single pulls, get it, come back on this banner, and get your guarantee with just a couple 10 pulls. Or if you get a legendary early and you have a ton of summons and you don't mind pulling extra for this character, at least if you get not too far in, you would stop at 199 on this banner, then pull until you hit a legendary on this banner, then come back and pull one summon to get the guarantee. So that's kind of the pity TLDR conversation when it comes to the swapping. But yeah, I don't think that this is like must pull, although it's a very cool characters on this banner. They're not like absolute must-haves. Like they're not like best in slots for anything that's currently in the game. I don't see maybe future content for Draylin and have some quirky uses, but not necessarily 100% necessary. Like some of these guys on this banner are. So this is a really hard conversation because it really depends on the player, where, like, how much you've played too. But I think it comes down between 2 heroes pretty well, maybe a third. And so the obvious best options, I feel like there's 3 that are the top options, right? We're talking Kagiri is like the highest boss damage potential. Sun Wukong, who is arguably better than him because he's more versatile. And Dao Chan, who is a top tier support, who's like Dolores on steroids, right? And if you already have Kagiri and Sun Wukong and you don't have Dao Chan, get Dao Chan. So that's kind of the obvious. If you're just missing one of those, you go for the other one. You're like, go for one of those 3 if you don't have them. That's the TLDR there. But I think it really comes down to Kagiri versus Sun Wukong for the decision of who to pull for. Now, we already had a Sun Wukong banner. So if you're a newer player and you missed getting Sun Wukong, then you should get Sun Wukong. I really think he's more versatile. If I had to choose, he's more versatile. He has extra slot, which allows you to put a tank in front of him to help keep him alive easier. And he has these Sage clones that pop up all over the place and help do more damage. His ultimate is great. Again, he's easy to keep alive because his clones help kill stuff, and again, the defender in front of him. And he just is a more versatile hero. He can be in a lot more comps, in all content, even Guild Wars, versus Kagiri, who is a bit quirky and is a bit more of a niche use, but he's a top tier damage option. He has a higher damage ceiling but a lower floor. So he is a bit more widespread there with, like, okay, an Awaken 1 Kagiri doesn't feel that exciting, but an Awaken 1 Sun Wukong, you really feel that. Awaken 3 Sun Wukong, Awaken 5, you feel it. But it really takes Kagiri to be Awaken 3 before people really consider him a beast. I can personally attest to that, putting very similar type stats on both characters, and my Sun Wukong was so much better than my A0 Kagiri that I've had for the longest time. I added an A1 to him, and it added some damage because they're restoring rage and coming to stuff faster every now and then, but it wasn't impactful to make him become the best DPS. And I feel like Sun Wukong just has a little bit more versatility out of him, that if you're newer, and I mean, like, you know, you've played for a few months at most, right? Or definitely if you only played for a couple weeks, a month, or whatever, I do think I'd have to choose Sun Wukong. I think so. At the end of the day, that's the choice. It just makes sense for a newer player progressing. He's going to help you in progression a lot more. Now, if you already... Obviously, if you have Sun Wukong and Kagiri, and you're deciding who you want to get Awakenings for, you could argue to try to get that A3 for Kagiri because it's amazing for boss content. So if you're possible to get if you're only like 1 copy away from getting an A3 Kagiri, and you have like an A3 Sun Wukong already, or even just an A1 Sun Wukong only, and you don't think you can get that much, you might want to try get the guaranteed A3 Kagiri, because that's going to feel more impactful than an A2 Sun Wukong. So there's definitely some stuff to weigh there based on what I've seen and what I have played with so far. So if you have Sun Wukong and Kagiri, Dao Chan is another must get. She's just fantastic. Her range expands and she becomes incredible with just an Awaken 1. But she's another, she needs Awaken 1, or she doesn't get the expanded range, then you might as well just use Dolores. But she's still better in some cases, but really, she's one who really flourishes when she gets awakened as well. But she at least needs that Awaken 1 for the bigger range to get the most benefit out of her, to really be able to utilize her in places where you couldn't necessarily use Dolores only to cover all the heroes you want to cover in like the bosses, right? But she is amazing everywhere. I mean, everywhere in the game that you need a booster, she can be the one. And then her other form gives her the oops, where is it here? This one. The Serenade of Hope. It also gives a damage mitigation, right? So that's just really, really helpful. Really, really helpful. Continuous heal and protection. So awesome. Physical magic reduction, magic damage reduction on allies in range. This stacks with other stuff like AoE damage mitigation and everything too. So it's just another way to help keep your team alive through another form of damage mitigation and reduced damage. So awesome, awesome hero that you want to have if you already have the other two. Now, there's a few others that are really fun, of course. I think when it comes, let's go back down to the mages. If you happen to get lucky and you have Yamirit, but you did not get Anora and you have the other three we've already talked about, I think Anora is another option to consider. Mainly if you have Yamirit, because they do pair very well together. The bond helps a lot to make both of them better. And she's incredible. I'm seeing her used so much with cultist teams. Like for a while now, that cultist teams have really gotten a lot better, and Esotericist as well. So a really great hero with amazing AoE range, with labor that gets summoned. So cool. Love it. And yeah, she is another top tier option. Another fun option to consider if you already have all the core people, that maybe you don't have Dahlia. Her range is really unique. She puts up those roses, and this can be awesome for Guild War. And a lot of quirky content too, where you want to block a straight line, slow them down, and do some damage along the way. It's really cool character. Now, ultra endgame people that maybe have all the key heroes already maxed out as well might want to consider, oops, where are they? Where are our defenders? Captain Rev, if you missed him early on. It's been a while. Maybe you already have Sun Wukong and Kagiri all set. He can certainly be used in some really quirky stuff. Definitely seeing him used more in Guild War as the cultist teams continue to rise. But I don't think he's a must-have in general on accounts. I think he's fun for some content. Even some of the Immortal Codex stuff he's really fun for. But I think overall the mages might be a little bit more versatile and useful. A lot of teams with summoners for Anora. Beelzebub is a great booster for cultist heroes. So that's something to consider too for these cultist beautiful ladies here. I think that's kind of, yeah. And then we do have to mention Falsia. So if, let's see, let me go back up here. So much harder to just keep scrolling. If you already have Sun Wukong and Kagiri like A5 and you're not even pulling for Awakenings, but you never worked on Falsia, I think she's worth a consideration. Okay, as long as you have Dao Chan A1 again as well. But Falsia is Esotericist and Northerner. She does do this physical and magic damage at the same time. Now, she's not better than Sun Wukong or Kagiri right now, but what we do know is that Elder is supposed to get a buff. So what if Elder's buff makes her dramatically better, or makes a Northerner team overall dramatically better for some of that boss content? I've seen some of my guild mates, well, I've seen Trax. You guys know I had Trax join me for a guide on Falsia. talking about her usage, and he does the top tier damage very easily in like Titanic Ruins using Falcia. He's using her with Isotericist Lord, using with the Nastia team even, using her there as well for sake of everything. And again, Abyss too, but she's not, it sounds like she should be perfect for Abyss given that she does both, but she does get out damaged still by Kagiri and Sun Wukong from what I've seen. But maybe that will change depending on the buffs and effects to something like Elder. I guess only time will tell, but it's something to keep in mind that the game is really making every faction really rise. They added Cassiel, who's a Northerner, an amazing boss killer. Li Bu, incredible fighter as well, who's Northerner. Ardea is Northerner. Like, look at all these amazing Northerner fighters that she could be into the mix with for some boss content, especially if we do get a buff here. So that's kind of my thoughts there. I'm trying to think. So unfortunately, Lust and Arrogance are getting these amazing skins, right? And Lust isn't exclusive, but she's so power crept now that I can't see saying to pick her. Maybe, okay, I would pick Lust over Falcia, especially given that amazing skin that's coming. Personally, I do use an A5 Lust, and it does way better than my lower tier Kagiri, much better. But that's because it's an A5 Lust. So that's another one again. Maxed out artifact for Lust. A5 Lust, she can hang still. She does great damage at A5. But Sun Wukong and Kagiri are still going to be chosen over her in most of your Nightmare teams. But is she fun? Is she amazing? Is she super sexy? And do we have an amazing skin coming? And if that's a reason you choose her instead of Falcia or Anora or Dahlia, I will not judge you for that. At the end of the day, it is a game. We also need to have fun. And she's still one of the funnest, spiciest characters we've ever had here. I feel like the only one I've forgotten, unless I might have forgotten more, is Gwendolyn. She's just, I mean, I know she has her roles in like Gear Raid 2, but other than that, I feel like she just needs a buff to hang with the other damage mitigation and support heroes that have currently risen, like Narissa, and even just using like Dao Chen, Pharisee kind of combinations, Eileen. She can get in there depending on the content, but it's not the top tier option. You don't see a lot of her at the top of the leaderboards. The last time I looked, unfortunately, I would love to be wrong though. Give me a reason. Oh, I forget. I swear someday I will make my team better, guys. I'm terrible. But yeah, you don't see her here as a damage mitigation, as a support hero either. But who do you see? A1 Dao Chen, Kagiri, Sun Wukong. A1 Dao Chen, Kagiri, Sun Wukong. That's what's here, and that's a good testament of some of the hardest content in the game with some of the best rewards. Those are the characters you want. But yeah, sorry this conversation was long. I really wanted to talk about the heroes and just a little bit of the thought process behind making that decision for a little bit longer than maybe some of the other should you summon videos that I've done, because it's a hard choice. But I hope this helps you guys think about it. My other advice would be watch the YouTube space too. Don't like look at other content creator videos, see what they have to say. I was trying to see who had videos. I was going to link a bunch myself. I noticed, was it Banana Luck? Who the hell had videos? Oh, not here. It wasn't Discord. I was looking to see who had videos in my subscriptions. But yeah, Banana Luck looks like he has one for suggestions. I assume that, okay, Dr. D's put a who to pick. I haven't watched any of these yet, though. I'm really curious to see what other people say. But I really do have to lean with Sun Wukong for newer players as the first pick, unless if you're a pretty well-developed account now, you just happen to be missing Sun Wukong or Kagiri, but you're doing very well in your content and you're just looking for the endgame numbers, then Kagiri would be the choice over Sun Wukong, and you should push to get as many awakenings as possible. But yeah, I assume, yeah, again, that Destined, Fastidious, other people are going to put out those kind of videos too, war guides, I hope. I don't know, but there's definitely going to be a flood of suggestions, I would hope. Our content creators are crazy not to talk about that, right? Alright guys, that's it for this video now. Thank you guys for watching and hanging out with me. Be sure to join me for the summoning party on Friday. I will post that in my Discord, same time as usual. Let me know if you guys want me to do your summons, and I will see you in the next video, which will hopefully be a long-ass Dev Insights video with last week and this week's post, and I will put a chapter in at least for that in case you already watched one of them or read one of them.